Hello everyone. Ping on YouTube chat if you guys can hear me. Hello Costu. Sorry. Okay then. Chalo, let's start it off. So today we'll talk about my favorite text editor Vim, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of you guys will have Vim as your favorite text editor as well. If not now, probably after this session or in the very recent future. What we'll do primarily today is go and see the lot of parts that Vim provides us. We might also look at different the ecosystem of Vim altogether, but we might not really delve deep into it. Like every small little things what Vim can do. So we'll have mostly where we'll see what all things we can achieve in Vim, and you guys can keep asking me questions all along. Like if I tell you something and you don't get it, please ping on the YouTube chat. So these are the things that we'll discuss today. The history of Vim and how it started off initially, why Vim, and then you will go through what and how we can learn touch typing, which is something that is really necessary for a programmer, according to me, and for using Vim as well. And then we'll go through the standard Vim, as in the kind of functionalities Vim provides right out of the box. You install it and that's it, you're ready to go. And then we'll look at the various plugins and plugin managers that people have developed over time for Vim. And some of those plugins are really so cool that I'm pretty sure after using those plugins, you'll not feel like being at home without those plugins. Can you guys still hear me? I'm just discuss. Oh my god. Okay. Cosmo, you guys can still hear me, right? No issues. I was just checking on you guys. That's all. Okay. Okay. I'd first like to start with why text editors, after all. Like we could have probably talked on a lot of things particular to a lot of programming languages, libraries, frameworks, a lot of things. But according to me, it's like you do whatever in your life as a developer. Text editor is something that you will probably never leave. You'll use it day in, day out, and that just becomes your real tool. And if you know it well, you can do a lot of good things, quick things, and you'll just love programming much more. Uh, so yeah, starting off all of these series of talks that we'll have with something this basic is really important according to me. So the history of Vim, as in before Vim, we had a project called VI. It was initially released in 1976, and yeah, it's almost 40 years ago. And VI stood for Visual, VISUAL, as in whatever you type, you see. So its name was derived from there. And then later on, a guy called Bram Molinar, he came in and he tried to improve what VI already was. So that was Vim was finally released in 1991, and Vim just gets its name from VI, as in VI improved, as you can see on your screen. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys might be using Sublime Text, I guess, which has been released pretty recently. But yeah, I'd really encourage you guys to once go and try out Vim. It might be a little steep learning curve. You might take time, but it will all be worth it, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, why Vim? So we'll come back to this question again towards the end of the session, and you guys can probably tell me if you would like to give Vim a shot. So Vim is comes pre-installed on almost all the operating systems. At least VI is. If you go and install Debian, Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, you name it, and you'll have at least VI installed on every one of them by default. One more selling point of Vim is you can run it from the terminal directly, or you can have a GUI version of it, where you can have different buttons, that people are generally comfortable with. I use my GUI version of Vim as like a terminal version. That's a different case. But yeah, you guys will enjoy using it definitely. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's good. Okay. uh, so for programming in general, I'll really encourage you guys to go and learn touch typing. It will just improve your typing speed, and then while editing code, refactoring code, you'll find yourself. Yeah, there was a power cut, and I just hope it doesn't do it again. But anyways, yeah. How many of you know touch typing, by the way, already? Can do a +1 on the channel. Okay, what touch typing is? Touch typing is as in you guys can ask me questions first of all. If I talk about something that you guys don't know about, just ask me right here. Oh my God. Okay, you shouldn't be. Uh, so that So touch typing is, you type without actually seeing the keyboard. It's all with, with your fingers. It knows where the keys are, and that's it. You keep on typing. So how to learn touch typing? There are two programs that I know of. One is Clavaro and the other is gtypist. If you're on Debian or Ubuntu, you can directly install it via apt-get install Clavaro and apt-get install gtypist. My personal favorite is gtypist. That's what I use to learn touch typing. It's pretty good. Both of them are pretty good. You guys can try it out. Now we'll look at the different features that standard Vim provides us. So one of the basic differences between Vim and any other text editor out there is that Vim works in different modes. It's like if you're in a certain mode, you cannot type in text. Even if you keep on hitting keys left, right, and center, nothing will work, because that particular mode is meant for something else. If you are in a certain other mode, you can do certain kind of tasks and so on. So there are different modes. One is called, the first one is called normal mode. Normal mode is where you do most of your text editing, and it's like when you are done typing and you want to clean up bits and pieces here, refactor your code, things like that. You do it in normal mode of Vim. Insert mode is the mode where you actually insert text. And then we have visual mode, where we select the text. We drag and drop in other Notepad++ or Sublime to select a particular text, right? So that's visual mode in Vim. There is another mode called visual line mode, where we select text but select a line at a time. And then we have visual block mode. Visual block is again where you visually select text, but here we select it in a rectangular block. Say, what if you wanted to select a text say vertically? So things like that. I'll show you a few examples right now. Okay, so at the bottom of my screen you guys can see, okay, just a moment, I'll increase my font size. Okay, now what we'll do is I would really like you guys to not really try to grasp everything that I do, but you should be more inclined towards okay, this is something that we do in Vim, or tend more towards learning what Vim does, as in the Vim way. So we'll see different modes. Currently at the bottom of the screen you can see it's written normal. That means it's currently in normal mode. Now if I want to go and add some kind of text, so currently you can see it has turned into insert mode. So I can go add text whatever I want, int a is equals to 5, something like that. And as soon as I press escape key, I go into the normal mode again. How do we enter into an insert mode? It's primarily by pressing the I key in normal mode. And then say in normal mode, I want to delete this entire line. What I do is I press D. I press D twice, and that's it. The entire line is gone. Say I am here and I want to delete from this particular position, starting off hello till the end of the line. I just press capital D, and that's it. It deletes from the point till the end of the line. I press U and it undoes the last step that I did. So there are multiple things that you can do like this. I'm not really aiming at teaching you guys what all keystrokes does what, but I'm aiming at you guys looking at this session and thinking, okay, I remember Ashish doing something like this. He deleted an entire line. Okay, let me go and figure it out how he did that. Or probably, okay, I'm currently in the middle of the line. I want to delete from here till the end. Oh yeah, I remember him doing it. It's like, okay, let's figure it out. And primarily, most of the things that I'll be I'm showing you right now, you can whenever you install Vim, say on your Debian, Ubuntu, whatever system you have, you can go and start Vim Tutor. And to be very frank, the way I started using learning Vim was from Vim Tutor, and it's really great. It has kind of like 10-15 lessons. I'll show you right here. Oh God. Okay, this is Vim Tutor. As you can see, it has different lessons, lesson 1, lesson 2, and it tells you what to do here and there. And this is how I started learning Vim. So how do you install Vim Tutor? That would be, it's like if you install Vim, Vim Tutor comes along with it. So you really don't have to do anything else. Okay, Vim Tutor's font, I really don't know how to bump it up. But yeah, I'll go back to good old Vim. So this is something, I'll just show you a few things you guys can watch. And if you guys really want me to tell you, like, okay, how did you do that particular thing, we can stop and probably start talking about them more. But I would really suggest that we just keep on seeing whatever things Vim can achieve, and at the end we start learning it on our own. Okay, Vim arrow keys, yeah, that's a good point. So in Vim, in normal mode, the way you move down as lines, we do it via J key. I'm currently pressing J, and to go up I press K. If I want to go right, I press L. If I want to go left, I press H. Now, I told you, in certain modes, if you press certain keys, they won't work. So in normal mode, when you press keys like J, K, L and H, they move around the screen in different lines, different paths. And that's primarily because the way Vim was designed like this, like because our fingers are mostly on our home row key, all the time. So I would suggest Kostub learning the default keys, as it is, J, K, L, and H, because a lot of other programs that you use, like less, more, and all of them, the default key bindings that those that all of them have is the same what Vim has, and it will really help. Home row, yeah, home row is the entire AS wala row, exactly. And F and J is, yeah, where you place your forefinger. Yes, you have little edges on them. You can feel it. As in, go to your F key, F and J key. So on both the keys, you can find small little bumps on them. Every keyboard will have it. And when you place your hand, it's like on them, you feel it. Yeah, this primarily for touch typing. When you're there and your home row key, you know that you're on the home row. Okay, so I'll just show you a few more things quickly. It's like, say I'm in the middle of the line here, say here, and now I want to add a line above it. What would you do on, say, Sublime Text? You'll probably go back to the start of the line and then press an enter, go up, and then start typing something here again, right? This is what you would do. But in Vim, say I'm currently here and I want to add a line just above it, and I'm currently in the middle of the line. If you see, what I press capital O and I go right above it. I didn't have to go to the beginning of the line, press and enter, nothing, no no fuss at all. And I want to say something, hello world, one, something like that, and that's it, I'm done. Now if you see, I'm in this line, we have two couts now, and what if I want to add a cout line after this, one more cout? And currently, if you see, I'm not at the end of the line either, where I can press and enter and go to the next line. I directly press small o and I go to the next line. I start typing cout again. And as you guys can probably notice, it's like a lot of auto completion that my Vim is doing for me. We'll talk about them later on, not right now. Just don't be confused, that's all. Now, yeah, how do you go to the start of the line? In normal text editors, we do it via the home key. In Vim, you press 0 and you directly go in the front. You want to go to the end of the line, you press $sign, that means shift and 4. We go to the end of the line. How do we go to the top of the file? We press GG, 2 G's consecutively, and that's it. My cursor is at the top of the file. Now what if I want to go to the end of the file? I press a capital G, that's shift G, and I go to the end of the file, right? Now say I want to delete hello and say greetings world, something like that. So what I'll do is I have to change this word. So I press CE. That would mean change till the end of word, CE. I pressed C and I directly start typing. Greetings world. Alright. You won't really have to memorize it. If you start touch typing, you will find, I myself don't believe this, how this happens. But once you start touch typing, you won't know when your fingers go here and there. Your fingers just know like where the keys are. And as far as the combination of the keys are concerned, that follows the same pattern. When you're working in Vim and when you have practiced enough, you won't know that exactly like Origin is saying. That's what Vim tutor is for. You'll have to go spend considerable amount of time with Vim tutor, as well as with one of the touch typing programs that I shared in the beginning. And once you do that, it will be a lot more easier. Yes, it needs a lot of practice, definitely. Okay. So this was just a little sneak peek, like what we can do with standard Vim. There's a lot, and we'll cover more of them. So next we'll talk about text objects in Vim. Vim has a concept of text objects. Okay, and the one thing that you guys would like to get help on every now and then would be like from Vim within. So you can go to Vim and you press colon, and as you would have noticed, as soon as pressed colon, my cursor came to the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll press escape and I'll press colon again. It comes to the bottom of the screen, and then I press H for help, and if I want help on a particular topic, I can write it right here, text objects. And as soon as I press enter, Vim opens me the manual of Vim. And you can quickly come here, read on whatever things that you are confused about currently, go to Stack Overflow. So a lot of help you can get directly from Vim itself. So what are the different text objects that Vim has, and how do they help? That's probably a bigger question among all of you right now. So there are a lot of text that is treated by Vim like particular text object, a full text entity. So one of the text objects is block. A block can be any text delimited by operators. Okay, I don't think you guys can see it. Sorry for that. Okay, this should be better. Can you guys still see the slides? Okay, so I'll assume we can. So there's something called block, and what blocks are, we'll see here. Say you are in any other text editor other than Vim. How do you select all the text that's within the double quotes? You see me doing here, I selected the entire text, right? Or say I'm in the middle of this, I want to delete everything that's inside double quotes. I do this and everything is gone. Or say there's this entire int main that I have. I want to delete each and every single statement that's there in main and probably write it from the beginning. How do I do that? It's gone, right? Okay, I'll just undo it. So things like this. So whatever text you have in between two curly braces, that's treated as a block by Vim. Whatever text that you have in between two double quotes, single quotes, or backticks, as I have mentioned in the slide, everything is treated as a text object. How do we do it? We do it, say, if I want to delete in here, I'll say delete D, I, and I'll press double quotes. So I'll just type it on the chat. So what this means, delete in a double quotes. It's like delete anything that's within the double quotes. And similarly, if I want to delete anything that's within curly braces, I'll press delete D, I, and opening or closing curly brace, one of them, and that will work. I'll type that on the chat as well, DI this or DI this. Both of them will work. We can have all kinds of text objects with all the operators that I have shown in the slides. You can have square brackets, you can have parentheses, you can have curly braces, double quotes, single quotes, and backticks. And we also have it for no, not this. We also have it for tags. So what if I want to delete everything that's inside this UL tag? I don't want these items at all. So I'll do delete in tag. Okay, that's okay. So that is DIT. So for tag we have T altogether. Okay, we can do it again. Like delete in tag, the entire UL is empty. If I want to go ahead, go top, and like I don't want to see anything in the head. So I'll press DIT again, and everything's gone from head, right? And I press U. How am I selecting? Okay, so for deleting we press D, right? D is for delete, and V is to select, visual select. So DIT would delete inner tag, as in delete everything that's inside the tag, and VIT would be visually select inner tag, that is to say select everything that's inside the tag. That's true with all the blocks that we have, as in a tag or two curly braces, all of that. Okay. And then we have word. Word is nothing but a continuous sequence of characters delimited by white spaces. So it can be anything. It's like I'll go here, I'll add a new li, and here I'll type in some random stuff, as in it will have all special characters, digits here and there, right? And I want to select all of this visually, so I press VI and capital W, and then I can say delete or do whatever I want to do with it. Same thing I can do DI capital W, it will delete the entire word, right? So that's what word is. You guys can read more on it later on, and if you have any doubts, ping me anytime. And Vim defines this other word. These all are Vim terminologies, where Vim manual writes capital word as a sequence of non-blank characters, small word as a sequence of letters, digits, and underscores. There is slight subtle difference between these. We can come back to this later on if you guys really want to know. So that's text objects, and you can do a lot with it. It's just extremely powerful, and we have a lot of other plugins that just enhances the lot of things that we can do with text objects. Macros. What are macros? Macros are you have a long, say, a file, and you do certain keystrokes, and then you want it to run for like say 1,000 times. So that's what macros are for. I'll just see if I can show you a nice example. Say I start a new file saying hello.text. Okay. So here, say I have certain key value pairs, key 1, val 1, comma, key 2, val 2, key 3, val 3, things like this. And okay, let me just actually okay, let's just assume that all those other threes are 4, 5, 6 and like that. Yeah, kind of like a function. So what you do is you make Vim remember certain keystrokes, and you would like Vim to repeat all those keystrokes for you multiple times, right? So right now what I'll do is, you guys can see at the bottom of the screen, I'll now press the button Q, and then I press Q again. So currently it's recording and saving whatever I am typing in registered queue. So now I'll do everything that I want Vim to do repeatedly. I first want Vim to find a semicolon, go one step ahead, delete that space, and then insert and then take the key value pair to the next line. I want Vim to repeat this for say next 20 times. So I'll stop the recording. I'll say 20@Q, and you see everything is arranged like we wanted it to, right? If you have any doubts on this, tell me. Yeah. How to do it? We start with how to start the recording again. You can start recording with Q and a combination of some other key. Say I did it with QQ. So Q is for starting the recording and then saving in it registered Q itself. Okay. So that's QQ. If you wanted to start the recording and save it in some other register, say QA, you're gonna have started the recording with QA. That's primarily because you would like to have a lot of macros sometimes. to work. And then yeah, once you are done with your macro, you press escape key and then the recording stops. How do you run a macro later on? It's like the number, say 10 at the rate and whatever register you had used. So in my case, I did something like this: 10 at the rate q. It's like run whatever action is stored in the q register 10 times. Okay, and this turns out to be really powerful, where you have this totally screwed up text file that you come across every now and then. It can be a log file or some other file. Okay, next we'll move to formatting. I know most of you guys, I really don't know how Sublime works. Is it stopping for rest of you as well? Can rest of you see it, the live streaming? Okay, I'll wait till someone comments on the YouTube chat. Okay. Once more regarding how to how we can play the stored macro. So that we do it via the combination, as you as you can see the above pasted 10 at the rate q that I have written. It's like number. It's like how many times you want to run the macro, and the macro register where the macro is saved. So 10 at the rate q will run the macro stored in register q 10 times. Okay. Okay. How do you stop recording? Is via pressing the escape key. So escape key is used in Vim a lot many times. Now we'll move to formatting. How we Vim does formatting and all. I don't know how Sublime does it. Say it has to format an entire file. I'll show you what I really mean by all of these things. So say okay. Okay, this should be a decent one. Okay, so say I'm currently going to write some code in here, say using vectors, and I have like for each, and then container v. I didn't really define the container. Say int v and v dot push back, and then I push back 1. I push back, say these 5 keys. I want to see out all of them. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, and now if I run this program, I can see at the bottom of the screen I get 1 2 3 4 5, right? Now just say Vim did this kind of little smart indentation for me automatically. Say what if I had written a code something like this. Now this code really looks bad, right? As in the rest of your code has an indentation of like 4 spaces and your for suddenly goes back. Doesn't look good. So if you want to indent, auto indent in Vim, we have the equal to key, equals to. Yeah, you can. It's like you can execute make files, you can run commands. Yes, it's there. So for smart indentation in Vim, we use the equals to key. So how do we indent this? I go to the top of the file, I press equals to key, and then okay, I go to the top of the file using GG. I press equals to, and then I press capital G to go to the till the end of the file. Right? Total key combination that I'll be using would be this, and I'll just do it and show to you guys. Now it's totally indented nicely the way it should have been. So GG was to go to the top of the file, equal to for smart indentation, and capital G to run the smart indentation for the top of the file till the end of the file. Okay. So this is smart indentation, but this is really still not done. Like say, what if some user has opening braces right after for in the same line, and in opening braces here have a space after auto, but no space after V. Things like that. It's all mixed up. The code isn't really consistent. How do you do that? Now this isn't done by smart indentation. Smart indentation will only help you for the indentation part of it. Now this is a little bit more, right, where you really don't want this particular single space just before auto, or say you really don't want this particular starting brace over here. You want it in the next line. It's like your entire file is filled with this mixed style, and you don't want that, and you want some Vim to do it for you. So for this time, you go to the top of the file, you press GQ and press capital G to go to the end of the file. So the key combination that I pressed was GG to go to the top of the file, GQ to format it, and capital G to format it till the end of the file. And as you can see, the single space before auto is gone, the curly brace has come down, and it's all done automatically for you for the entire file. And this is extremely useful where it's useful for everyone actually. While typing in code, you sometimes do mistakes here and there, and then there is a program that can automatically take care of all this coding convention standard for you. It's really useful. So currently for smart indentation, you saw we were using equal to. For auto formatting, I'm currently using an external program that is helping Vim to do this auto formatting. For C, C++, Java or C# code, I tend to use A style, artistic style. That's a backspace. It doesn't work. It should. It does. It does on my system. I'll just show you. I'll be pressing backspace key. Say I'm currently on K. Way it should. Okay, that's in insert mode, right? For me, it does. See, I'm deleting. Right. Okay, Kostu, are you on the Vim for Windows? Right now also I am in normal mode and it's working for me. Okay, why it doesn't delete? Why it doesn't delete in normal mode? It doesn't delete in normal mode because, as I said earlier, almost all of the keys that we expect it to work the way they should, in normal mode they don't. They all have their special meanings, just like J, K, L, H, G, G, capital G, zero key, which takes you to the starting of the line, things like that. Did I answer your question, Kostu? Okay, awesome. Let's move forward then. So this is the key combination. I'll share the slides right after this presentation. I should have done it before so that you guys could have seen it during the presentation as well. But anyways, I'll share it right after the presentation. Now we have something called tags, and this is pretty exciting to me. Like any new project that you start working on, half of the things we won't know, right? So say I went and downloaded, say, TensorFlow from Google, and then I said, okay, let's start looking at the code of it. I did a git clone. Okay, I did a git clone, and then it's like, okay, now let's start looking at it. So say I go into core, I go into framework, and say I go into function.cc. So currently I am in this function, function.cc. Now I start looking at the code, and then I say, okay, there's a namespace or TensorFlow, and then they have the another unnamed namespace, and then I suddenly see this instantiate attr value map, and I have no clue what this particular thing is. Now, how do I know where it's defined? It's a pretty big project. How do I know? So I directly press Control and closing square bracket, and Vim takes me directly to where it's defined. So what we find over here, that instantiate attr value map is a type def to TensorFlow protobuf map. Now that's cool. Now I know what instantiate attr value map actually is. Now I want to go back. I press Ctrl T, and now I'm back. And I'm saying, okay, this is fine. This is fine. It's like, okay, now another thing, like data type vector. I really don't know what data type vector is. I again press Ctrl and closing square bracket, and Vim takes me directly to where it's defined. And I see, okay, again it's a type def to GDL inline vector of data type and for. And now I want to go back. Okay, sorry. Okay, I just minimized the presentation. I can show it again. So yeah, we were here at data type vector, and we want to know where it's defined. Press Control closing square bracket. I go directly where it's defined. I want to come back, Control T. So this is really helpful when you're working in a big project, and when you're calling a function and you suddenly want to see what how it works and things like that. It's extremely helpful, and that's something you guys would really like to use. How does Vim achieve it? So Vim has built-in support for something called a tags file. So the only thing is Vim should know where the tags file is, and it loads the entire definitions that we have in a particular project, and it will load them up for you as soon as you start. So that's tags. So we currently use exuberant C tags. Exactly. So every definition is stored in a file. If you have the third-party vendor's source code, it will you can generate a CTAGs file yourself. I'll show it to you how I do it. So I close the van. So I downloaded TensorFlow, and now I want to generate tags file for this. I say ctags -r will recursively go through all the directories, search for all the files, and generate a tags file in this particular directory. I do it, and that's it. It has generated tags file for me. And then I know the font size is really small. Let me just increase the font size. Okay. Okay. So now if you want to see the tags file, this is the entire tags file. We really shouldn't be concerned with how it's done here and there, but this is what the exuberant C tags generated. Yeah, it works for all the languages. It works for C, C++, Java, Python, everything, Rust, anything. And it's really cool. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So it's control plus closing square bracket will take you to the definition, and control T will bring you back from where you went. Yes. Okay. Now Vim and Vim plugins. There are a lot of Vim plugins out there. Exactly, it's like a full Eclipse editor. Seriously, it's like you throw in a few plugins, and that's it. You have a full-fledged IDE running for you, and with a lot of power that Vim comes with, right? The more and more you get used to the Vim keys shortcuts, is just brilliant. So Vim has a lot of plugin manager that the Vim community uses. One of them is Vim Plug, which is my favorite. Before Vim Plug, I myself used to use Wundle, which used to be my favorite then. And Wundle is again another brilliant project. But Vim Plug, in my opinion, it's a little better. And then we have Vim Pathogen. It's a little old, but a lot of people still use it. How do we use plugins manager? I'll probably not go into that. You guys can go to these sites after this talk and look more into how something is done. So some of the Vim plugins that I'll suggest you guys to use is the first ones is, yeah, a little funnily named, like you complete me. As for code completion, as you can see in the background, as soon as I press V dot, I get a full list of code completion, just like in Eclipse or an IDE. It's saying me, okay, Ashish, you have a function with vector called pushback, and I select that. And if you see at the top, I'm also getting the overloaded pushback functions that's available for me. The one with a const value type and the other one that takes move semantics. So I know, okay, these are the two push functions that I can use. And then I say, okay, push back 6. And that's it, I'm done. Say if I want to have a very big variable name, say int, I really don't know who would name a variable so long is equals to 5. So I have this really long variable name, and now I want to use it. So it's like, who really wants to type that big thingy again, right? I'll directly start typing, and notice I won't really type in the exact order, but it will just have, you know, the little variable names. It's like I, R, W, something. Now it knows with that series of characters, there's just one variable that's existing in this file, and that's that. And I press enter, and that's it. That variable is selected. Now that's the power of you complete me. It's just brilliant. You once start using you complete me, you can really not go back. Okay, if you want to open a new file, it's like, okay, I use something called nursery. Say there's a file open already, and say I want to open a file right next to it, say text objects dot or formatting.cpp. I press S, and I have now two files side by side. If I want to move from one window to the other, I press Ctrl W and the arrow key of Vim, which is JKLNH. So currently I am on the right pane. I want to come on the left pane. I press Ctrl W and H to come on the right pane. Nursery, yeah, Nursery is good. But there are a lot of other plugins that really help. It's like, I'd like to draw a one-on-one analogy. If you guys have used Eclipse or say any other full-fledged IDE. So in such IDEs, we have a file structure which is similar to the Nursery plugin in Vim, where you see the entire file structure. It's like, okay, I'll open TensorFlow again. So currently you can see the entire folder structure that I have, right? I go into some file, example, client, TensorFlow C API. Okay, this doesn't go away. Okay. Now, I really want to know what all things are defined in this file. So there is this another plugin called taglist. I bring it up like this, and you see it gives me everything that particular file has. It's telling me I have a namespace called anon1. I have another class defined in that namespace called tf managed buffer. I have another namespace called TensorFlow. I have TensorC API. This is exactly same like we have outlines in Eclipse or in IntelliJ or Android Studio. It's exactly same. And if you want to say go to a particular function, you directly press enter over here and it takes you to that particular function. Okay, so this is one thing. Now another case would be like in Eclipse, where you remember the file name not so strongly, but okay, there's something like this or this in this particular directory, and I really want to open that file. So we know we had something like in core directory we had a functions.cc file, right? And I want to open that. There's a plugin called Control P. I press Control P and I say, okay, I want to have core functions.cc file. Now I can directly see here I have a lot of I have core framework function.cc. So we can go select that, or if only we had a little more better remembrance. So I'll go back, I'll say for core I won't even type the complete code, I'll say COR, and then framework, for framework I'll type FRM something, and then in framework I had functions, func.cc, something like that, and you see it has directly nailed it down to that particular file that I want. I press enter and that file is back, is now opened in my editor now, right? So that's Control P. I think in Eclipse we have similar functionalities with Control Shift and R, where you want to open a resource. Okay. Control P is there in Sublime as well. That's good. So these are a few plugins that you guys would love to use. I'd like to show you Vim snippets and other things as well. So say we were in this function, I just delete everything. Now say I want to include a particular header file. I say inc and then it directly comes right here. I type main and it directly comes over here. So these are the snippets, and snippets is something that's there in a lot of text editors, and it's really helpful. It's like whatever editor you guys use, I would strongly suggest you guys to use snippets. It will save a lot of time for you guys. It's like say I want to include vectors. I included vector. Now I want to create a vector, say vector offense, and just like last time I'll do a pushback multiple times. And now if I want to have same line like 4 more times, I just copy this entire line and paste it 4 times. That's cool, right? And now what if I want to print every line, so like using iterators? So I have this iter snippet already. I say okay, that's a vector of type int, that's a const iterator I want, and the container that I want it to use is container v. And then what do I really want it to do? I want it to print, right? Emmet. I don't know what Emmet is, but yeah, I'll try to show you a few things in HTML as well. But it is achieved using some as in the same plugin. So let's start here. Okay, so now I have a HTML file, and I want to write say HTML5 related code. I say HTML5, and I want the snippet engine to create a bare bone for HTML5. Now that's it. I have a HTML5. Now I say title, Vim demo. I don't have any links to share as of now. And now there's this another beautiful plugin called SparkUp. I think this is what Emmet is. So say I want to have a div inside another div. In that div, say I'd like to have uh, uh, unordered list. In unordered list, I'd like to have a list item, and I press Ctrl E, and we get this auto completed for us, right? And then if I want it for like 4 times, I add this. Okay. So Emmet is a plugin for Sublime. Is it cost though? Yeah. So yeah, moving forward. Uh, so these are the references for all those plugins that I have shared. You guys can see my own configuration file. It's on GitHub. You guys can see it here. I'll just share the link here. Is that link working for you guys? I think so. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any other questions, or say if I have missed something, then as you know, you have certain features in Sublime and you'd like to see the same thing in Vim. Maybe I haven't covered it. You guys can bring it up now, or have any other question, anything. I'll be reading the YouTube chats channel. Okay. Is it like where we have two panes open, and you'd like to edit in one and see the same file being edited in the other pane? Is it like that? Like we select cat, which is present in 10 lines, all cats get selected and gets edited. Okay, is it like substitution? It's like find and replace kind of stuff? define and replace. Okay. I really don't know. I would love to look look it up. I don't know, multiple cursors. Okay. Uh, we have certain functionalities. I'll just show it to you. Say formatting CPP, not formatting text objects CPP. So yeah, say here you want to say change from pushback to say if we had a function like push front, if you want to change that, we can do a substitution here, like push back, change it to push front. So it's changed. Site sublimetext.com. Okay, sublimetext.com. Okay, just a moment. Okay, got it. Yeah, all of these things you guys can do in web. Any other question? It just depends. What I have seen, it's like a lot of people get away with, knowing a basic little bit, like what you would learn like half an hour. But to be really using Vim the way it should be used, it takes at least, I'd suggest, 1 month. It has a steep learning curve, definitely. It takes time. But once you learn it, I don't know. I find it very difficult editing files in any other text editor. Okay, the configuration file that I shared with you guys, on my GitHub account, that's the exact Vim that I use. Okay, I could have showed you guys, but since this is a live screening and I'll end up showing the code that I work in Office, I don't want to do that. I primarily work on Python, and then it's like okay, I'll show you. I'll show you a sample. Yeah, say I have a cricket and get, I say demo Python. Okay, that doesn't work. Demo Python. Okay, demo Python is right here. Okay, and now what I generally do is I save a session so I can totally launch it right from here. Just a second. Get demo Python. Say I want to create a new file, say main.py. Okay, so I want to add in a shebang line at top. I use a little bit of snippets. Since it's main file, I have to have a if main class. I want to have a main function. I really don't want all this. And now I have a few linters also set in my Vim. As you can see, it's all the time with the two greater than signs. It's telling me something. So we go to the line, and if you read at the bottom of the screen, it says missing function docstring. So it's saying, guys, you really need to add a docstring over there. So I go here and add a docstring. It's like sample docstring. Okay, now it stops complaining me about that. Now it's saying, dude, you really want to add missing module docstring, or say I do something that's not what people in yes, linters basically show me all the errors that I have done. So if I start writing say C++ code in here, that would work, right? Say okay, invalid syntax, that won't work. And then a equals to 5. Now semicolon is optional in Python, and in general it's not recommended. So at the bottom it's telling me unnecessary semicolon. So all these are linters, yes. And then currently it's telling me invalid variable name a. It expects some, so it's all just linters. And if I want to run this code, I press F9 and it does it for me. Print a and if yeah, anything else? Any other questions, guys? Or no problems, you guys can come back to me later as well. Right now I am on that Slack channel, so if one of you want, you can create a channel for Vim, and if you guys have any questions, we can start chatting there as well. My pleasure. Totally. Sure. Bye bye, everyone. Happy women.